Ole Miss has a big weekend against the Baylor Bears, the Ohio State Buckeyes, and the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. We talked to Chad Smith all about the Ole Miss Rebels in today's Locked On Ole Miss podcast.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Willis, a former Ole Miss staff member on the football side and a former member of the national media with Yahoo Sports for about a decade. We're proud to be part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now it's the #1 sports podcast network in America, and that's all because of people like you taking in content like this. On today's show, we're going to be talking Ole Miss baseball. Their first really big weekend of the non-conference is happening in a tournament in Houston. We'll talk to Chad Smith from Swayze Crazies all about that. We'll talk about what you need to expect, the weird ways to watch it, and all of that stuff. So thank you for tuning in for that. All of that and more in today's Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Remember, we're free and available on all the podcast apps and on YouTube. And a special hello to the insiders and everydayers who make this show what it is, your team, every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Use the profit boost on NBA futures and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, Chad. You know, we're sitting here, just full disclosure to anybody watching this video, the Ole Miss Southeast Missouri game is happening as we speak. So if we space out for a second, that's probably what we're having. In the Quinn Hughes thing where you're just seeing ghosts in the middle of the game staring off in the distance, there's actually something we're looking at. But we're not going to focus on the Southeast Missouri game because as we watch it, it was 9-2. This game is essentially over at this point, and the only question is of whether or not they can run rule it at this point. But let's move to this weekend because Ole Miss has swept every weekend series. It gets real this weekend when they go down to Houston, Texas, and they face the Baylor Bears. What's the big thing that you want to see this weekend from Ole Miss?
So number one is the pitching. I want to see our pitchers go in there and dominate the way they can, the way they should. I mean, you know, going into a Big 12 preseason rank, I think they were number 14 in Baylor. We should dominate on the mound. Whoever we throw up there, you know, of course, we're going to start Hunter Elliott on Friday, and he'll take that first game just like he normally does. We should have no problem with the Baylor Bears. They have one player on there that is a preseason player, all conference player at DH. And, you know, besides that, they really just don't have the pitching there. They really don't have it. I want to see our pitching dominate their hitters. That is the primary thing that I'm going to look for throughout this entire weekend, throughout all three games.
You know, is that the DH, the guy that hit 3 grand slams in one game?
Yeah, his Wesley Jordan is his name. He's a DH and will likely go in the draft this next year because of his hitting ability. But you know, Jordan will probably put up some numbers on us. However, if we can keep the rest of the team to, you know, minimal hits on us. I mean, if you take this last week, and I know we missed last week as far as the Missouri State series. Missouri State, I thought we'd lose one of the 3 games in the series just because Missouri State is that good. They play in a great conference. But now it's over. We won it. We took what we needed to take. And we got past it, especially with a low-hitting Sunday, if you will. But this week, I want to see a lot of that carryover.
Did that Sunday surprise you at all? Because most of the times on Sundays, it's just slugfest. It's like 13-11 type games. And that one, other than Dom Decker hitting his first ever home run, you were genuinely wondering if Ole Miss was going to be able to score 2 in that game until Judd Utermark hit the home run.
That's right. That's right. And on that Sunday at that cold, I mean, it was ice cold up here. I've had several people tell me that it was probably the coldest game that they've had at Swayze in, several years. It's no secret that Swayze is colder than most places on campus during this time of year, but that place was really cold on Sunday. So it didn't really surprise me that we didn't have the offensive production. What did surprise me was the fact that that Missouri State, their pitching staff is actually very good. And they did a very good job of holding us down on Sunday. And luckily, when they made the change on the pitcher, we were able to jump out with Judd. And that's really the name of the game. I mean, Judd is doing he's hitting lights out right now. And at the pace, I did a little calculation earlier for those looking to project, into the future, what the number of home runs that Judd will hit. It's 42. 75%. Will that happen? Absolutely not. But if he gets 30 plus, which is entirely possible, we're going to be in great shape.
One thing that's been interesting to me this season already is like the way that lineups were getting constructed. And I'm really interested to what the construction is now, because Dom Deckard's my dude. He's a true dirtbag leading off the game. He's exactly what you want in a leadoff hitter. But they now started stacking in the 8 and the 9 hole, Braden, Randle, and Hayden, Federico, and you have 3 essential guys that can lead off going into the Utermark and the Furnace and all that. So you're going to have guys on base. So if Judd clears the yard, or Will Furnace, who had an extra base hit against Southeast Missouri, heats up a little bit, right, all of a sudden that's going to bump up your run production.
Absolutely. And I had a comment previously, and I agree with Dom Deckard being number one. There's no doubt that he should be leadoff. He's got a great approach. He can hit to all fields. He's the anomaly was Sunday when he hit the home run, but we'll take that when they come, as long as he doesn't go for that home run every time. But I know it was on Swayze Crazies. We had somebody ask about why is Judd not hitting cleanup instead of hitting number 2 in the lineup? Well, very good explanation on that one is in most games, the majority of games, the cleanup guy is not going to come around for 5 at-bats. That number 2 slot is going to come around for 5 at-bats a lot more often than the cleanup guy. So you want to get that guy, a Judd Utermark, the guy that's hitting lights out right now. You want to get those 5 ABs, because you never know down the line, which game that's going to end up benefiting us in. And it could end up benefiting us in 2 or 3 or 5, 6 games once we get down the conference stretch. But loading those guys in the back, like Hayden, Federico, and Braden, Randle, those guys flip the lineup. That's their purpose. Get them to flip the lineup, put it back in the hands of the good hitters, the strong hitters, the ones that are more consistent and will actually produce and make money for the squad.
Yeah, and get the pitcher to pitch out of the stretch against Dom Deckard whenever it comes back around, because college baseball pitchers aren't as effective throwing out of the stretch as they are in the windup. So mistakes get made. All right. So when we come back, we are going to talk about this weekend's game, how to watch them, because it is different. It's not a flow sports type thing or anything like that, but we're going to talk about all of that coming up next. This is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel has given you the chance to turn that dream into a reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here is how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered to win a shot to go to the NBA Finals in a trip for two. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. I love futures this time of year, whether it's picking a team to win it all or just grab a conference title. It kind of adds that extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. So now not only can you pick cash, but you can also send yourself to the finals. So visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use the profit boost on an NBA future and get entered to win your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever just to hand things off and move on with your day. With tax season, TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done by a trusted local expert start to finish without all of the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with local TurboTax experts in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employment forms and work to get you every single deduction. You can upload your documents, go about your day, and get updates right in the TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver and gives you real peace of mind knowing that an expert is handling it. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local expert for just $150 all in. If TurboTax didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. That's coming up pretty quick. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. And workplace chaos, deadline stacking out, inbox overflowing, and one position you have to fill sitting open when the pressure's on. You need to make the right hire, and that is a job for Sponsor Jobs. Indeed, Sponsor Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for, skills, experience, location, so you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute that I've been talking to you, 27 hires have been made by companies just like you. Indeed, on Indeed, according to Indeed stats worldwide. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is the job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get $75 sponsor job credit to help your job get premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Jobs. All right, do us a favor, like, subscribe, and comment on the video. Subscribe to the podcast on whichever audio podcast you're listening to and give it a 5-star review. It costs nothing but keeps all of this free. Thank you for making Locked On Ole Miss your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast in America. That is all on you. If you haven't already, go check out our Everydayer Club. Access to an ad-free audio feed for Locked On Ole Miss, compatible with Apple, Spotify, and every major podcast app. You can get an invite to the Everydayer Club Discord server, which includes a group chat for listeners of this show and my own private Discord server. You'll get an invite there too as well. You get special all-access episodes of Locked On Ole Miss from myself, Corey Burton, Dalen Flowers, Mike Huseman. They always hang out over there. So go to lockedonolemist.supercast.com or tap the link down in the show notes down below. You will not regret it. All right, Chad. Going down to Houston. Okay, I think this is a YouTube series for everybody that's watching this video. Watch the game on YouTube. If you have a Roku, if you have an Amazon Fire, just download the YouTube app within there. You can search it, and it's just like watching on TV on SEC Network Plus. But once you do that, you've got some weird first pitches of 11 a.m., 10 a.m., and all of that. Do you think the time change, the weirdness of this tournament, is it a positive, or is it just they're going to kind of freak out about
it? It's really not going to be anything new. We've dealt with tournaments like this in the past. The most notorious of tournaments that we're used to is the old State Farm College Classic in Arlington. We were there last year. they're three. It's a round robin, so you got 3 games. We know we're going to be playing weird times. Usually there's an 11 o'clock, there's a 3 o'clock window, and there's usually a 7 o'clock window. Plus, you got to have time to, brush and take care and manicure Minute Maid during the interim. So, to make sure that's the case, make sure that everything's taken care of. This is just going to be a business trip. This is exactly what we're going down there for, and the guys are going to need to, get used to this on a regular basis, because throughout the season, we know in conference play, things are just going to change on a whim, and the weather can make sure that it'll throw a monkey wrench in everything. So we've got to be flexible and just play the game when it's scheduled.
Before we move on to something else, it is kind of interesting. You've mentioned Arlington. Globe Life kind of has an interesting thing going on, because right now Major League Baseball spring break baseball is starting, and it's like 4 weeks straight. So the baseball regular season starts in about a month. This weekend will be the 3rd consecutive tournament that Globe Life has held in that stadium, with 6 different groups of teams. That's a pretty good idea for a dry run to get ready for the Texas Rangers to start playing.
Absolutely. And it's actually a interesting way that they've done it. Even Frisco has started to branch off of that Arlington success. They've taken the Arlington model, and really, of course, what was it, a few years ago, we played in Minnesota as well. If I'm not mistaken, and I can't remember the name of the stadium, but it wasn't in MLB.
It was Valhalla. It was where the Vikings play.
Exactly. So, these cities are bringing these tournaments in not only for money, but for, off-season revenue is primarily what they're after. And off-season when it comes to their pro sports, of course.
All right, before we get out of here, let's go with what is the best matchup of the 3 games this weekend for Ole Miss?
So best matchup by far is going to be Sunday when we play Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina, even though they're kind of hurt right now, they're down 2 of their best pitchers. I don't believe they're going to be back for this matchup. Plus, they lost a lot of players to the draft this past year off of their College World Series team that made it to the finals. Still, they've got a lot of talent. They bring in a lot of transfers. They develop a lot of talent from the inside. Their coaching system, their entire program is a credit to the Sun Belt, if not every group of 5 school. Take that model and try to develop it and copy it, replicate it. That's what they need to do. However, for this game on Sunday, that will be our biggest test. As I was saying earlier, Baylor is not going to be up to our league. Not saying that there's not a chance there if we just have a horrible game, but in my estimation, there's no way that Baylor is going to stand a chance against us in Houston. And Ohio State, we all know where the money goes in that university. Ohio State, baseball is not getting much money at all. So, don't expect too much of a fight from Ohio State either. The biggest one that we want to be concerned with, and our RPI will be based off of, and so will the ranking increase next week. That'll be the Coastal Carolina game.
All right, and as far as players, what is the player matchup, and which game is it going to be like? Is it like, if Becerra, which is the best game for him to break out in? With you playing in heavy air in Houston, but also indoors, who does it benefit?
Benefits your power hitters more than anything, of course. Your Becerra, your Judd Utermark. I think this weekend we could see, and we actually saw Will Furness on an uptrend and on an upswing starting on Sunday. And today he had, I believe, one double, if I'm not mistaken, a RBI double. And who knows what else has been going on while we've been doing this. But I could see, yeah. I saw the score earlier, but as far as Will goes, I can see him increasing his batting average and getting a good start, especially in that Coastal game. Once the competition increases and the competition level increases, that's when Will Furness really gets started and makes his money. But yeah, I can see Becerra, I can see Pacella coming around and really starting to put in a good couple of at bats per game out of 3-game series as well.
Yeah, I just want the trio of Randle and Federico and Decker to get on base to allow Utermark, Furness, and Becerra to do some damage. I think that's just a great formula for this baseball team. What are you doing this weekend? What do you have planned?
Sure. Baseball all weekend, three games each day. I'm going to be watching all of them because I want to scout the other team, that we're going to be playing the next day or the next day. And basically dwelling at the front of the television this weekend. I'm not going to be able to make it to Houston this time. Dallas was last year, so I'm staying out of Houston. Traffic is horrible down there anyway.
Absolutely. Anyway, thank you for stopping by, Chad. We will talk next week. We'll talk Purple Aces of Evansville before that matchup. So take care, buddy. We'll talk to you then.
Howdy toddy.
Howdy toddy. All right. Thanks for tuning in today to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. We're going to continue to talk baseball all weekend long. So make sure you subscribe and follow the show so you can get all the latest episodes. We're on all the social channels as well. So check that out. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Ole Miss ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to lockedonolemess.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we're going to send you on over to the 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make a second listen, either Locked On SEC or Locked On College Football. Both are well worth your time. Hotty toddy, and we'll see how the Rebels go with kind of a Fisher cut bait kind of series. We need to see this weekend that they put a good performance out there and hopefully come out of it 12-0 or at least 11-1. So we will talk to you later. Hotty toddy, everybody.